Hello everyone and welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Don Julian. In the news, quite a bit of discussion at Monday's Hopkins County Commissioners Court meeting focused on county roads. The court took steps to free up an additional $1.564 million in funding for road improvements this summer. The court first approved a resolution declaring an emergency in Hopkins County due to recent weather which impacted county roads. Commissioners Court cited local government code allowing them to authorize an emergency expenditure as an amendment to the original budget in the case of grave public necessity to meet an unusual and unforeseen condition that could not have been included in the original budget through the use of reasonably diligent thought and attention. The resolution identifies recent rain, flooding, and winds for immeasurably negatively impacting county roads. Due to extenuating circumstances, the Hopkins County Commissioners Court is authorizing an emergency expenditure as an amendment to the original budget according to the emergency resolution. County Judge Robert Newsom proposed allocating $250,000 more per precinct from the general fund so that precinct road crews can begin working on roads earlier this year, weather permitting. Making the adjustments now instead of later in the year will be helpful in that it will allow materials for each precinct to be obtained in readiness for any good weather days instead of having to wait until later in the year or closer to summer, Precinct 1 Commissioner Mickey Barker noted. Precinct 3 Commissioner Wade Bartley said that he is thankful the county is in healthy enough financial condition due to increases in property values, which have generated additional revenues to be able to designate additional funding for road improvements. Precinct 4 Commissioner Joe Price asked if the designation would allow for purchase of road equipment if needed also. Judge Newsom noted the declaration would allow funding for construction and maintenance of county roads, which could include needed equipment. Auditor Shanna Alsbrook affirmed the funding would go to each precinct road and bridge budget and could be used for allowable expenses in that fund. Mac Pitts, a community member, asked if the funding would come from the existing budget and not require additional taxes. Alsbrook affirmed the money would come from the general fund and go directly to the road and bridge fund. Precinct 2 Commissioner Greg Anglin said he hopes during good weather this summer to have 2 road crews working, which would allow him to cover more miles of road. Anglin asked to be allowed to use some of the designated funding to purchase another reclaimer for Precinct 2. The equipment would be used and purchased through the county's membership in Sourcewell. Because the group is a purchasing cooperative similar to Buy Board, the county would not be required to go out for bids on the project. Anglin said the model he's looking to purchase is about 3 years old and is in good shape. Barker noted that the Texas Association of Counties has been guiding county governments to purchase equipment instead of leasing it. This would also make available additional equipment should the reclaimer already in operation experience mechanical issues, Anglin noted. The Commissioners Court gave unanimous approval for the reclaimer purchase for Precinct 2 through Sourcewell. The Commissioners Court agreed to amending the budget to reflect the $1 million adjustment from the general fund, with $250,000 going into the emergency road building line within each precinct's budget for maintenance of equipment or related expenses for road work. An additional $564,000 budget adjustment was also recommended by Allsbrook. She explained that was the total remaining in road and bridge funding from the previous year. Those funds at the end of the year had to go back into the general fund. A transfer within the budget would allow each precinct official to access the funds remaining from his precinct. And that would be $126,000 for Precinct 1, $129,000 for Precinct 2, $87,000 for Precinct 3, and $222,000 for Precinct 4. The court approved a line item within the budget to carry those funds over to this year's road and bridge funds for the 4 precincts. And that funding will help, but even those funds will only go so far. Currently, the cost to repair 1 mile of county roads, $120,000, according to Judge Newsom. Barker compared the season for road work to hay season. Crews have a limited amount of good weather days, but would do the most work possible within that time with the available resources. The Precinct 1 commissioner noted the county has some FEMA funding also that must be used within a certain amount of time for road repairs. Judge Newsom offered appreciation to the sheriff's office for providing additional labor for precinct crews through the trustees' work program at the county jail. The Hopkins County Commissioners Court Monday morning also approved a board amendment and gave the go-ahead for the district attorney to apply for grant funding and answered a query regarding the county's subdivision rules. District Attorney Will Ramsey asked the court to approve a resolution which would allow his office to apply for funding from Victims of Crime Act Formula Grant Program for Victim Assistance Coordinator Services and Legal Assistant Services. The funds help fund the salary of his Victims Assistant Coordinator and partially pay for another of the District Attorney's office employees. According to the district attorney, he said we match 20% of that for the Victims Assistant Coordinator. The funding is a great deal for the county and DA's office because it allows them to hire the coordinator while only having to pay for 20 cents of every dollar of the salary. And the court approved that resolution. DA's office will now appear before a group in April to request the funding. In order to be eligible to apply, the county must support the application according to the district attorney. Hopkins County Judge Robert Newsom recommended to the board that Dana Sills be appointed as Hopkins County representative on the Lakes Regional Community Center Board of Trustees, a board that oversees mental health and intellectual and developmental disability services facilities in 15 counties, including Hopkins County. And Sulphur Springs has their facilities on Airport Road, Hillcrest Drive, and Industrial Drive. The proposal to appoint Sills as the county's representative on that board first appeared on the February 24th Commissioners Court agenda, but was postponed at that time. Judge Newsom, who had been involved in the recommendation process, was unable to attend the February 24th meeting, so the commissioners opted to postpone any decision regarding the appointment until information could be gathered. And then Judge Newsom on Monday told the Commissioners Court that he had been involved in the process of selecting a recommendation. Interviews were conducted, and following that process, Sills was the recommendation for the appointment, Judge Newsom explained. The court approved the recommendation of Sills to represent Hopkins County on the Lakes Regional Community Center Board of Trustees. Precinct 1 Constable Norman Collier submitted to the court a document regarding racial profiling. He reported that he does not, in the normal course of his duties, make traffic stops and is therefore exempt from having to file a racial profiling report. The exemption was submitted to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. A copy of the document was submitted to the court to be filed as part of the official county record. And Joe Jennings appeared in the Commissioner's Court to find out if the court is firm on the subdivision rules established for the county. The man asked or said, the rules and regulations that you all have passed, I just wanted to make sure that was going to stand. If anybody did do a subdivision, that it's not going to be something that's moving back and forth that could possibly change the cost of whoever was going to develop. Jennings said he was not appearing to try to change the minds of the court members regarding the current rules, but to seek assurance that the rules will remain unchanged. And basically, the county commissioners assured him of that. A culmination of the county livestock show put on each spring for 4-H and FFA students in the Hopkins County Junior Market Livestock Show is the sale. That's where the high point livestock projects in each species is placed in the sale ring and offered to the highest bidder. Long ago, Hopkins County began a tradition of helping youth see a reward for their efforts in raising quality livestock. But it was with the establishment of NETLA, or Northeast Texas Livestock Association, more than 15 years ago, which has taken the local agriculture tradition over the top with the sale of champions. The 2020 sale of champions yielded another record year when it was held on Saturday, February 29th. 134 youth projects were selected to be in the sale based on points earned during judging in the market show. The 2020 total in sales and add-on money was $474,000. Well, let me do that over again. $474,302.33, and that beats the 2019 total of $458,208, as well as every other year since 2005, when NETLA record keeping began. And everybody seems to benefit from the sale of champions, most especially the youth who are earning money for their college funds through selling successful livestock and ag mechanics projects. Congratulations to those 4-H and FFA students, also their families and club advisors, organizers of the Hopkins County Show, volunteers and board members of NETLA, extension staff, the bidders, the buyers, and there's bound to be others. Deputies arrested a 50-year-old Picton man Monday at his rural residence on a violation of parole warrant, making the second time in less than a year that he's been jailed locally on the charge, according to Hopkins County Sheriff's reports. Officers, after being made aware of the warrant, went to David Keith Harrison's Picton residence to serve that on Monday. Harrison was taken into custody at 1:25 p.m. and jailed at 2:42 p.m. on Monday on the charge, according to arrest reports. And that's our Channel 18 news for today. I'm Don Julian. Thank you for joining me, and so long, everybody.